Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you weren't aware, from the millions of articles that were released, WWDC, Apple's yearly developers conference, just happened a few days ago. This year's WWDC was honestly special. Because we're all in lockdown, they had the opportunity to pre-record their WWDC, one of the first times this has ever happened. What that meant was Apple had the chance to use beautiful transitions and drone shots in order to perfect their WWDC conference. And that also avoided things like this from happening.
Now, unlocking it is as easy as looking at it and swiping up. And, let's try that again. Ho, ho, ho.
Jokes aside, this WWDC was really special. They not only had a great video to show us all, but they also had a lot of new features and a lot of new great softwares that they released to their Apple devices. So anyway, after WWDC, I installed the iOS 14 beta on my device as soon as possible. So I thought this would be the perfect time to give you guys a first look at iOS 14 and details of all the new features and updates. Alright, let's get started. So the number one feature at this year's WWDC and the biggest change to iOS overall has to be widgets. So with widgets, you just go into jiggle mode, tap the plus, and you can scroll through and find a bunch of different options for widgets. You can also do what's called a smart stack, where if you take a bunch of widgets, you can place them on top of each other to stack them, and then you can scroll between them depending on which widget you want to see. You can also just create an automatic smart stack, so let's go ahead and do that. And then there's also an option that says Smart Rotate, and that just means that Siri will automatically rotate through your different widgets. So say it's the morning, it'll show you the news, in the afternoon it'll show you the calendar, and at night it'll just show you your activity. But at the end of the day, I think widgets is so great because it shows that Apple is actually listening to its customers, because we've been asking for widgets for a long time. This is a feature that has been on Android for years. Ever since the beginning of Android, widgets were a thing. So I think it's great that Apple's starting to listen to its consumers and adding widgets as an example. Alright, so the second best feature in my opinion is the app library. So say you have a bunch of pages of apps, but you're too lazy to organize them all. With iOS 14, if you go into jiggle mode and you tap the three dots at the bottom, you'll go into a page view. You can deselect pages of apps and they'll disappear from your home screen and automatically appear in the app library. Now, if you look at the app library, you'll notice it looks very similar to the app drawer, a staple feature on Android OS. So I think it's becoming clear that at this point, Apple is just trying to compete with Android, which is great for us consumers because it seems like the overlap of features is becoming bigger. Okay, so this next feature I'm going to show you was not announced whatsoever in WWDC. It's a really small change, but it makes the phone experience a lot better. So if you go into the Settings app, under the Accessibility settings, go to Touch, scroll all the way down to where it says Back Tap. What this means is if you tap the back of your phone twice or 3 times, it can trigger a specific action. Now that action can be one of the pre-built actions. It can be an accessibility feature like invert zoom, or it could be a Siri shortcut which gives you a lot of flexibility and choices as to what to do with this feature. Now a question I had when I first heard about this feature was, will it work if I have a case on? And the answer is yes, it does. Even if I tap really lightly with my case on, it'll still trigger the action. So that's the new back tap feature on iOS 14. Now, am I going to be using this? Probably not, if I'm being honest. But I still think that it's a pretty cool feature, and in some pretty unique use cases, it could come out to be pretty useful. Alright, so next is the Messages app. So the Messages app has been lacking features in comparison to other messaging services like Messenger or WhatsApp, and things like replies or inline ads or adding someone so that they get your notification. But in iOS 14, they were able to fix most of their problem. The first big change is that you can reply inline. Of course, we've seen this feature tons of times in different messaging apps, but now Apple has it too. You can also @ people, which I currently cannot do because I don't know anyone else who's on iOS 14. And third, you can pin conversations. So instead of sorting your conversations by last responded, you can sort it by order of importance. There's also now an emoji searcher within the keyboard, which is pretty cool. And finally, they added some changes to Memoji by adding things like biker helmets and face coverings. So the fifth best change in WWDC, and one of the most highly anticipated features coming to iOS, is picture-in-picture. If you're a part of the jailbreak community, you'll see that there are tons of different tweaks that have done the same thing that Apple has announced this year. Primarily, we see things like the redesigned Call UI, or the redesigned Siri UI. Those were all already jailbreak tweaks that were available for people on previous iOSs. So let's talk about this new Siri UI. I honestly don't really like it. First of all, it decreases functionality because it doesn't show you what you said to Siri. Second of all, it hijacks the screen regardless because you can't interact with any apps on your home screen while Siri is running. Now with picture-in-picture, you get access to a lot of great features. The first of which is in FaceTime. When you're in FaceTime, if you swipe up, instead of just pausing the FaceTime like it normally does, the FaceTime will become a small video on your screen. So you can do things while you're on a FaceTime with someone and it won't pause your display. Now the same thing works with when you're watching a video. If you're in Safari or you're watching a video, go into full screen mode, swipe up, and it'll become a picture-in-picture video. So from here, you can do things like take notes, or you can text someone, or you can do whatever you want on your phone at the same time as having a video playing. Well, that's all I've got for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Let me know down in the comments, what update are you looking forward to in the next few years for Apple's iOS? See ya!